and welcome to another episode of the Norwenglish Knitting Podcast. My name is Lizzy and I'm coming to you from Bergen in Norway. And you can find me on Ravelry as LizzyHut94 and on Instagram as the Norwenglish Knitter. I also have a Ravelry group that I created called the Norwenglish Knitting Podcast, so you can head over there to find the show notes for today's episode, which I'll also post in the description box below, along with a link to my projects page on Ravelry, so you can see anything that I talk about in any of my episodes. I generally keep my projects page quite well updated, so if there's anything that I forget to mention, you can usually find it on there, and I usually keep pretty good notes, I would say, of all my projects as well. So if you've never seen a knitting podcast before, it's a video podcast where I get to talk about my knitting projects and show what I'm working on, what I've recently finished, and also talk about things that I would maybe like to make in the future. And occasionally I might talk about some other crafty bits as well. Today I have two things to show that are not knitting related, but they are crafting related. So I'll be showing the knitting things first and then I'll pop those at the end. So if you're not interested in those, then you can stop watching at whatever point you would like. So it's been about a week and a half since I last recorded. So far I've been recording about once a week, and I have to say that in the last week I've not really been feeling that motivated in terms of my knitting. I've been feeling quite tired and lethargic, and quite fatigued as well. Around this time last year I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, which, if you don't know what that is, it's a neurological condition that affects my brain and spinal cord, and it can cause fatigue. So I do go through periods where I struggle with that a little bit, and that's kind of one of the main reasons why I got into knitting. Was it provided me with a lot of comfort on the days where, you know, I don't have much energy. It's really nice to just kind of relax on the sofa in the comfort of my own home and do a little bit of knitting. I feel like I'm doing something productive with my day. But the past week I've not really been feeling it that much. I have done a little bit. I'm going to show today what I've been working on, and hope that you enjoy seeing that. I think we all go through periods where our motivation kind of wavers a little bit, or we enjoy doing different things. Happy to say the weather is getting a little bit better now here. I said last week that it had been snowing, but the past couple of days we've had quite a bit of sunshine and just some really nice weather, so that makes me feel a lot better. What else have we done? We did, on the 17th of May was Norway's National Day, kind of Norway's Independence Day, so we celebrated that a little bit. We had to do it slightly differently this year because of the pandemic situation. Normally, me and my husband, we go to a little town called Voss here in Norway with his family, which is kind of the town that's close to the cabin that they have. And we go to, there's this really nice hotel that does like a buffet style lunch, and everyone in Norway dresses up in their national outfits, their bunads. And we go to see a little kind of parade that they do in the town, with music and just kind of your typical parade really. But this year we didn't go. So we stayed home, and me and my husband just enjoyed a day at home together, and we actually heard some music and some sirens and things going off. So we headed up to the main road. Our house is just off the main road, and watched the little kind of car parade that, because of the coronavirus, obviously there's social distancing, so they can't do a normal parade, but they had like cars and trucks and things, and playing some music, so that was nice. And then after that we went to his parents' house for some food and some cake, so we still got to celebrate a little bit, but it was definitely a little bit different than all the previous years. Hopefully next year we can do our traditional National Day. But if you're from Norway, I hope you had a nice Independence Day, despite everything that's going on, and I hope you got to see some of your family and celebrate in a nice way. So I think that's all I've got to say about what's been going on the past week. I haven't really been back at work that much yet, so still waiting to see what happens on that front, really. So I guess I'll get into the knitting content. I don't think today's episode is going to be a very long one, but I wanted to record anyway because I've been really enjoying doing it, and I've been really enjoying seeing some new faces. I've had some new people subscribing to my channel, new people following me on Instagram, and that's been really lovely. So if anyone wants to comment on this video and say hello, tell me what type of crafting that you get up to, and just introduce yourself, I would love to hear from you. So let's talk about my knitting. I don't have any finished objects this time, but I do have 2 half objects, and they're both socks. So let's see which one. I'll show this one first. So this is a sock that I've knit for my husband. I think I mentioned in last week's episode that I wanted to make some socks for him out of the yarn that I used to make his sweater. This is the Drops Karisma, so it's 100% wool, and I think the colour is anthracite. So I measured his feet, and I didn't follow a pattern, I just made it up as I went along, really. It's got a little cable. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it because it's such a dark colour, but I've got a little kind of 4-stitch cable running down the side. In hindsight, I probably could have done a bigger cable, but it's my first kind of made up cable, so I wasn't sure what to do, but I'm really happy with how it turned out. It is quite wide at the top, that's because he wanted some socks that he can wear with his kind of winter boots in the winter, especially at the cabin. And he's tried them on and they fit really well, so I'm really happy about that. And I've just got to make the other one, but I've only got this much left. So I was trying to use up the extra yarn that I had from his sweater by making these socks, but now I'm going to have to get some more, which is a bit irritating. If I'd made him shorter socks, probably could have just about gotten a pair of socks with the yarn that I had, but he really wanted longer socks, so, and I want to make him something that he's going to be happy with and going to wear, so I just have to get a little bit more. From what I can remember, it's fairly inexpensive because it's a Drops brand yarn. So next time I order some yarn, I will be ordering some more of this one, but it's not, it's definitely not urgent because it's getting towards summer now. So I have a lot of time to finish these, which is quite nice. There's no pressure there. And the other half object that I have is the Christmas socks that I've been working on, that I've showed a couple of times before. And I've finally finished one, which I'm really, really happy about, and I'm really happy with them. So last time I recorded, I said I wasn't that happy with the colour work, because I'm quite new to colourwork knitting. I wasn't very happy with my colourwork knitting skills, and I said I wasn't going to rip it back. Well, I changed my mind and I did rip it back. I just figured, you know, that if I wasn't happy with it, then I should just rip it back and do it again. It doesn't take that long. Sock knitting is quite fast, and at the end of the day, I'm just getting more time and use out of the yarn that I've bought, so in a way, I'm getting more for my money by taking a longer time with it. That's how I kind of justify it in my head. But yeah, I designed these myself. If you can say designed, I mean, I'm by no means a knitwear designer, but I came up with the pattern myself and used stitchfiddle.com to create the knitting charts. And yeah, I'm really happy with it. I'm quite happy. I wasn't sure what to do on the foot portion, but I decided that I wanted it to be kind of a little bit less busy than the top. I thought if I did too much colour work in the foot section, it would be a little bit too much, so I think it balances out quite nicely. And I knit these on a 3.5mm needle, and one of the main reasons why I decided to rip back was I did buy some 9-inch circulars. I wasn't sure if I was going to buy those, but I happened to be in my local yarn shop and found some that looked really good, so I bought those and decided to rip back and redo it with the 9-inch circulars. And I'm so happy that I did. It was so much easier to knit the colour work, just going in the round on the same needles instead of using my double pointed needles, where I was really struggling with the tension when switching needles with the colour work. So I'm really glad that I bought those. I had a feeling that I'd get on quite well with them anyway, because I do knit quite, holding the needles quite closely. They're still not, you do have to adjust a little bit to them because they are so much smaller. You have kind of less to hold on to, and it does take a bit of getting used to. But if you've never tried them, I would recommend at least trying one time and just see if you like it, especially if you're going to be doing colour work in the round on small projects like socks. I really enjoyed it. And this is using the strømpegarn, which is a Norwegian brand, kind of commercial yarn. And the colourways are listed on my projects page. I won't go over that again, but it's a nice kind of dark grey, red and white. And I'm now working on my second one, and I'm on the foot portion. So it won't be too long until I finish these. I've just got to get a little bit more of the white colour just to finish the foot. But I've got plenty of the black and grey left, so I can use these for some other socks. Yeah, don't know what else to say about that. I think I've made really good notes and charts for these socks, so I am considering releasing it as a pattern, but I would like to be able to offer a range of sizing, so it might take me a little while to figure that out, and I mean, there's no point releasing it now anyway because it's nowhere near Christmas, so it'll probably be later in the year if I do release it. Yeah, we'll see. I'll let you know if what happens with that, but no promises. So that's my Christmas socks. Hopefully have those finished next time I record. And so that's my half objects done. And next is my works in progress. And I only have one work in progress this time, and I've talked about it a couple of times already, so I'm sorry if you're bored of seeing it, but this is my Teroldego Shawl by Caitlin Hunter, which I'm knitting with Drops Alpaca, and I'll have the colourways on my projects page if you're interested. So it's getting quite a bit bigger now. Just hold it up for you. I don't know the best way to hold this because it's getting quite big. I'll show it in sections. This is the bottom portion with a bit of lace and colour work, and then it's stripes in 2 colours, and then it's got some more lace, which is what I'm working on at the moment, and about here it starts to, this is kind of the point on the triangle, so you start shaping it the other way. And I've just started with this new colour, which I showed in my last episode. Talked about how I bought the wrong one. So if you want to see the comparison between the two, then you can watch that episode, because I've used up all of the other one now. And I wasn't sure if I was going to use this one or buy the one that I was supposed to buy, but I don't like wasting yarn, and I don't like spending money that I don't have to, and it's not hugely different, so I figured that I would just try it and see. So I've knit, I think, about half of the lace, this lace section, with the first colour, and when I was going to be starting this new colour, for some of the rows I held them double so that it's kind of slowly transitioned into the new colour. I don't know if that was entirely necessary. You can't really see it because they are so similar, but that's what I did, and I'm not going to undo it. So I've got another 45 or so odd rows of the lace pattern to do, and then I think it's some more striping and bits at the end, which will be a lot quicker. The lace, I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with this lace chart. Some days I really love knitting it, and other days it just feels like a bit of a chore. So what I usually do is just try and knit at least a couple of rows each day. But I find, I have to really concentrate when I'm knitting this lace pattern, so that I don't make mistakes. I'm quite a big fan of having some TV programme or YouTube videos on in the background while I'm knitting, and I can't really do that with this lace chart. But that being said, it's really pretty, and when it's finished and I've blocked it out, it will definitely be worth it. So we'll see how much I've got done when I next record, but there's no rush, right? I can finish this whenever I want, and trying to enjoy the knitting process rather than just focusing on trying to have it finished. And yeah. So pop that down. And then I've got a couple of other crafty things to show. These are things that I finished a while ago, but seeing as I didn't have much knitting to talk about today, I thought I would get them out and show you. The first one is a crochet project, so it's not that different than knitting. And I made this before I really got into knitting. I decided to do a bit of crochet. My sister's really into crochet, and when I saw her doing it, I felt inspired, and I was on Pinterest looking at crochet patterns, and I just fell in love with this blanket. So, I mean, can't really hold it up so you can see all of it, but it's a pretty good sized blanket. It's definitely a good kind of lap blanket, and you knit a lot of these you crochet a lot of these crochet hexagons and then attach them together, and it's got this border around the outside with some bubbles, and I just really loved the colours of this one, and I did follow the pattern in terms in terms of the colours and the colour chart, I followed it exactly as it said. And this is using, I think it's called Stylecraft DK yarn. It's an acrylic yarn, so it was quite inexpensive, and I think I bought it on Wool Warehouse, which does ship internationally, so I was able to get it here to Norway. And this took me quite a long time. There was a lot of ends to weave in, and yeah, I enjoyed making this. It was definitely good value for money. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. It's called the Weekender Blanket. And, you know, this would be quite a good stash buster. You don't have to follow the colours that it says. And I did add, the border that I've got is slightly different to the one in the pattern because I've used two colours, but that's because I ran out of the light blue colour. So I just did the, I started with the light blue and then finished in the kind of cream white colour. And yeah, that's all I've really got to say about that one. I definitely prefer knitting over crochet, partly because I like to hold the yarn in my right hand, and I found it quite difficult holding the yarn in my left hand for the crochet. But yeah, if you're into crochet, I would definitely recommend this blanket. I've got this on my guest bed downstairs. And the other crafty thing I've got to show is my cross stitch. I've done a bit of embroidery, and this was something that I did, I started it this time last year and I finished it around Christmas time, so it took me a good few months to get this completed. And here it is. This is a deer, and I think it's really pretty. I loved the colours. It's got a little bit of top stitching for extra definition. See if I can hold it a bit closer and hope that it focuses. And I bought this on Amazon, and it was £16, and you get all of the, so you get the, I don't know what this is called, the embroidery cloth. You get all of the threads that you need. This is what I've got left over. So it comes with plenty of thread, and it comes with this booklet which has all the chart in it. So it's got everything here. You can see I've highlighted all the squares. So when it was quite a complicated chart with lots of colours. So when I finished some squares, I just coloured in as I was going what I'd done, so I could easily see what I had left. And it's the booklet works so that you work from top left to the right, and then you go. So it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pages. I really loved doing this. When I was, I think it was during the summer months, I wasn't really knitting that much last year. I was working on this quite a lot. And yeah, it's the first cross stitch I've ever done, and I really love it. It is really, really good value for money. £16, and I got months worth of fun out of it. I think that's really good. And I've actually got another one which I haven't started yet, which I bought at the same time as this one, because I didn't realise how long it would take. So yeah, I'm currently working on a different cross stitch at the moment that my sister bought me for my birthday. It's a kind of colourful lion, so maybe I'll show that in another video. If you're looking for something a little bit different than knitting but still kind of crafty, I would definitely recommend finding a good cross stitch that you like. Another positive of this is, you know, you get some nice artwork potentially for your walls. We don't have much artwork or anything on our walls at the moment. We've only lived here for a couple of years. And I have been looking, but artwork is so expensive, I find, especially the ones that I like anyway, that I would want to put up on my wall. I just can't justify spending that much money on, you know, decoration. But this counts, I'd say. If I put this in a frame, I could easily put this, hang this up on the wall, and it's only £16, and I made it. So I think that's even better. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was just kind of what my crafting plans are, what I'm planning on making, what's on my wish list. If I went through everything that was on my wish list, we could be here for hours because there's a lot of things that I want to make. I'm constantly on Ravelry and just generally looking at patterns and watching other people's podcasts, and my wish list is forever growing, and I can't knit at the pace that my wish list grows, so it will forever be a very long list. But wanted to talk about some colourwork socks. I've got this nice little booklet that my mother-in-law gave me. It's a Ravelry booklet of colourwork socks, and I've really enjoyed making my Christmas socks. It's the first colourwork socks I've ever made, and I've kind of caught the bug of colourwork knitting. So there's some really nice patterns in here. I just want to show a couple if I can find them. So for example, it's got these really nice spotty socks. I really like the ones on the cover as well. I really like to make these. And my mother-in-law made these socks as well with this kind of arrow pattern on it. And I think these are the ones that I'm going to make next. There's something so therapeutic about sock knitting. I don't know what it is. I think it's partly because now that I've knit so many, it kind of comes a bit more naturally, like second nature, like I really know the construction in and out, and I don't have to think that much when I'm doing it. They're quite quick to knit up and you get through the rounds really quickly, and I just always have a pair of socks on my needles. Here's another really nice pair here. So I don't know where you can find these patterns. I think you can probably find them online. The only thing is they're written in Norwegian, and I don't know how I'm going to do with that, because although I do understand a lot of Norwegian and I can read Norwegian, I don't know Norwegian in terms of knitting. So, you know, there's a lot of like technical terms and things that I'll have to learn, but hopefully I can find something online to help me with that. I've got so many things on my favourites page on Ravelry. It's hard to choose what to talk about. I'll just pick a couple. The first thing that I would really love to make is, I think it's called The Shift. It's a cowl by Maroon. And it's so beautiful. If you haven't seen it, I'll put a link to everything that I mentioned down below. But it's this really pretty mosaic pattern cowl with using 3 different colourways. It's intended for using yarns with kind of long colour changes. And a lot of people have knit it with the Malabrigo yarns that are really colourful and with big contrasts, so that's what I'm planning on. But I'll have to wait until I can get my hands on the Malabrigo yarn. I know I can buy it from Wool Warehouse, but I can't get that delivered here right now because they're not delivering internationally, so I just have to wait and be patient with that one. Another thing I'd really like to make is a pattern that's just been released by Fibre Tales. It's called the Bellis Tea, and it's kind of a perfect, it's a little bit cropped kind of t-shirt with some buttons down the middle, a fake button band. It looks really pretty, really simple. I've been thinking lately that I need a lot more simple things in my wardrobe that I can pair with some of the other stuff that I've knit. I find that a lot of the things I knit, I don't have anything to wear it with. I need something very simple and basic to let it kind of stand out. So I would love to make that one. And I would also really love to make a kind of traditional Norwegian colourwork cardigan. In Norway there's a term called, well, a word, kofte or lusekofte, which can't really directly translate it into English, but it's these kind of traditional old colourwork cardigans or jackets that people used to make and wear, particularly kind of more working class farmers and things like that would make these and wear them just as an everyday thing. And they're like colourwork all over, and there's different patterns related to different areas of Norway, and I really like some of them, so I would love to make that with some traditional Norwegian wool, like 100% Norwegian wool. I think that would be really fun. And yeah, I mean, there's loads of things that I want to make, but I think those are my top ones at the moment. Let me know what's on your wish list or what you're planning on making soon. I would love to see. Maybe it will be something I can add to my list, my very long list. And don't forget that you can head over to my Ravelry group and say hello over there as well. Maybe post some pictures of what you're working on. I would really love to see. Let me know what you've been up to. And don't forget to subscribe and like my video. I really appreciate everyone that's subscribed so far. And yeah, see you next time.